videos in a few days, but because I really didn't want to make any more sit down videos where I'm just talking to you guys, because, like, let's face it, those videos are boring. But I thought I would share a story with you guys. Something that happened to me today. And the only reason I think I'm going to share this story is because it really affected me and it affected my kids. And I just want people to learn that you should never back down from people that are just simply doing wrong. So I bought a car a year and a half ago, 2 Februarys ago. And yeah, I think I'm kind of in the wrong. I didn't really shop around. I needed something kind of quick. I went to like the first dealer and got a car. I did not know that the place was like a buy here, pay here place until after obviously I was like getting the loan or whatever. So anyway, right after I got the van, I started having like extreme car troubles. And I was still under warranty, so I took it back to the dealership 3 times. 3 times under warranty. They claimed they fixed it, whatever, it kept doing it. And then like one day on my way to work, I had literally pulled out of my sister's driveway. I had to drop something off to her. I pulled out of her driveway and literally my car like fell apart. Anyway, they claim they fixed it. I've been having like this clunking noise ever since. And they claim that it was just like the muffler hitting like a bolt or whatever, and never truly like fixed the problem. So now my car is basically undrivable, and I have called them about this for days. So for actually weeks. So anyway, I contacted a lawyer, and basically the lawyer told me that not to make any more payments on it and get a second opinion. And he said you can prove that you had this in the shop several times in their shop and they didn't fix it. Because I kept like all the receipts, and every time they work on your car, they give you like an invoice. So I had all of those, and so I have been pretty much withholding the payments from these people for a week. Just a week, like a week today. And so, anyway, a guy from a car dealership came yesterday to my house and asked if I was home. My daughter said no and went about. And he just gave her a slip and said, have your mom call me. Okay, cool, whatever. So today I was at the doctor's with my son, and the guy showed up, and it was just Sierra and Morgan home. So Morgan answers the door, and the guy was like, is your mom home? And Morgan's like, no, she had to take my brother to the doctor's. So anyway, the guy said to Morgan, well, I really need to speak to your mom. Can you get her on the phone? Morgan's like, no, she's at the doctor's. And he's like, well, I am not leaving this house until I talk to your mom. And he's like, you better get your mom on the phone. He's like screaming at my child at this point, like threatening that he isn't going to leave unless he talks to me. Morgan didn't know what to do. Sierra was in her room, or was in the bathroom, something. She wasn't out there at this point in time. So anyway, Morgan calls me and she's like, Mom, this guy is threatening to not leave. Like, I was like, I can't really do anything, Morgan. Like, I'm at the doctor's. Like, the doctor's about to come in. At this point, I'm like trying to whisper. You know, like, I didn't want the doctors to like hear me or whatever. So anyway, he like was intimidating Morgan, and Morgan was like, well, my mom said she can't talk, and he's like, well, she better talk. Like, you need to tell her to call me right now. Like, I'm not leaving till she does. At this point, Sierra hears a lot of racket going on or whatever, and she gets up. Now, I want to remind everybody that this guy never identified himself of who he was, what company he worked for, or anything. He could have been anybody. And so Sierra gets up and she goes out and she's like, excuse me, but who are you? And the guy was like, I just need to talk to your mom. And she's like, well, why are you talking to a minor? if you have an adult related thing that you need to talk about, you need to talk about it with an adult, not a minor. He's like, well, I wasn't even talking to her. And Sierra's like, I clearly just heard you screaming at my sister, like to the point where it woke me up. So anyway, he was like, well, I need to talk to your mom. And Sierra's like, well, she's not here. Morgan was really shooken up. And I mean, like, everybody knows, like, Morgan has all these health issues and stuff. That could have, like, sent her into a seizure like that. Like, she does not know what to do in these situations. Like, this never has happened, obviously. So, anyway, Morgan comes inside, and Sierra was out there taking care of it or whatever. And he's telling Sierra, like, you know, your mom is coming. She's like, you need to deal with this between my mom and whatever. She's like, and my mom's not here right now. And he was like, well, call her on the phone. She was like, no. And she was like, no, you need to leave. And he was like, no, I'm not leaving. She's like, you need to leave. Like, this is, you know, and come back when you can talk to my mom or call my mom or whatever. He just kept going. He got aggressive and more aggressive towards Sierra. So he calls me on the phone while he's standing on the front porch in front of my kids. And I flipped out. Like, I was, like, cursing at this point, and I told him, I was like, how dare you speak to my kids like this? Like, you have 2 minutes to get the hell off my porch, or there's going to be trouble. Like, hands down, there's going to be trouble. And he left. Thankfully, he left. Okay, so then I get home, and Sierra's, like, telling me everything that actually had been said, da-da-da-da. And so I called and I talked to corporate, I guess is what it is. They're, I mean, like the supervisor, the manager, or whatever. So I said to this guy, I was like, I explained what happened. He called me a liar. He was like, no, he did not, you know, my employee did not do that. I'm like, no, he certainly did do that. I'm like, I heard the way he was talking to my child when Morgan called me. And he was like, no, like, you just need to pay your payment. And I'm like, the payment at this point is irrelevant. What happened to my children is what I'm calling to discuss with you. He's like, well, I'm not going to discuss this unless we have your payment. I'm like, no, we're going to discuss this, pal. Like, I don't think you realize, like, you just ticked off maybe the wrong mama bear. And so he was like going on and on, and then he was like, your kids are lying. I'm like, my kids are lying? Like, what? And so I said to him, I like, him and I went back and forth. Like, I don't remember everything that was said because, like, everything was getting heated. And I was like, well, what would you do if somebody approached your door like that? And he was like, well, my kids are smart enough to not answer the door. What? Like, girl, like, let me tell you, if I knew where this guy's office was, I probably would be sitting in a prison cell right now. Because him and I would have went heads and heads. Like, there's one thing that people know you don't mess with in my life, and that's my kids. Never disrespect my kids, because you know what? They're innocent kids. They didn't have anything to do with this. They didn't even know that, like, I was a week late on my payment. All they know is that right now, we're sitting here with no damn car. Okay? And I'm paying $400, almost $400 a month. Okay, girl? Like, listen. So, yeah, I'm, like, ticked off. So my first reaction is just to go up there and have it all out confrontation with these people. So I'm also telling this guy, I'm like, okay, well, have this guy come back and get my payment. Girl, would you believe this guy never came back to get my payment? Of course he didn't. So you can intimidate a little child, but you can't intimidate me. Okay? So anyway, I'm like, I don't know what to do at this point. Like, this cannot go on. I cannot be having these people show up when I'm not home. Like, what do I do? So I contact the lawyer, and I'm like, what do I do? You know, I talk to my mom and whatever. So at this point, like, we've all agreed that the best thing to do is just call the sheriff's department. So that's what I did. I called the sheriff's department. They came out. They spoke to me. They spoke to Sierra. They didn't really need to talk to Morgan. They said that Sierra's, you know, statement was enough and the things that they had said to me. So the sheriff's department calls the guy that came to my house. And he was like, I just want to get your side of the story at this point, because now let me remind you, like, I don't know how it is in different states, but in New York State, like, so if something happens in my county, my county police department takes care of it. If something happens in their county, like a different county, then that county takes care of it. So now you have, even though the guy like came to my town and did it, his office is in a different county. So now you're like talking two police departments involved. So obviously he called the guy to see if he could resolve this and see what happened. So he calls the guy and he's like, I want to hear your side of the story. I'm like, what happened? The guy tells the sheriff, it's none of your damn business what happened. This is all about a payment. The sheriff's like, really? It's not my business? Because you just now harassed people and have 2 counts of endangering the welfare of a child. Now, even though Sierra is over 18, because she's living at my house and she's under the age of 21, they actually counted her on the charge. So the sheriff calls me back and says, I want you to let you know that an arrest has been made. We did arrest the guy. We charged him with 2 counts of endangering the welfare of a child. We didn't do the harassment charges because, we need to stay with charges that will definitely stick, because he actually didn't threaten your children, like verbally say, I'm going to do this to you or whatever, or swear at them. Like, it was kind of hard, but because he was screaming and refused to leave the property and, got Morgan scared, that type of stuff. And being that Sierra is pregnant, they did charge him with 2 counts of endangering the welfare of a child. So I'm not sure at this point, like, if I'm going to have to go to court, what's going to happen, I'm not really sure. But I can guarantee you that today was a bad day for this car dealership, because not only did they not get their money, they do not have the vehicle, and their employee got arrested. And I'm pressing charges and going to go further with the business. The lawyer's like, we have this in the bag, like, for one, basically, we have what they call like a lemon law. So basically, if someone sells you the vehicle and they claim that it's fine, and I even looked in my fine print, because I'm like, well, now that it's a buy here, pay here, like, did they sell it to me as is? So I had the lawyer, like, go through everything, make sure that it did not say, like, yes, this, no. And because they offered me the warranty, like, everything should have been okay on this car. And I can prove that I was in there for the exact same thing. So now I'm just waiting, like, to see what my second opinion guy says, like, what's wrong with the car and whatnot. And I'm not even going to sit here and say that I'm not going to make my payment on the car, because I might. I mean, at the end of the day, eventually I need a car, but, I'm just like, do I even want to bother with this company again? But then, and because it's a buy here, pay here, which is perfect, that they can't actually go after my credit. So that is wonderful. So if I decided to not pay it and they had to come repo it, I mean, granted, it doesn't look good on you, but it doesn't go against your credit either. So I'm just like, what the, like, who does that? Like, who comes to somebody's house and threatens their children? I mean, granted, he didn't really threaten my children, but he threatened to not leave. Like, once my children opened that door and he said, is your mother home? And they said no, you should have walked your butt off these damn steps. And then you had to take it further, and then you argue with my 16-year-old child, and then you go and argue with my 20-year-old pregnant daughter. Like, girl, what? No. Listen, I was so mad, you guys. Like, my heart was beating out of my chest. I was shaking. I was so mad. Like, my son was like, Mom, calm down. Calm down. I'm like, no. Like, I can't calm down. And I'm glad that I did calm down long enough to pull my thoughts together and get the police department involved, because, I mean, had I went up there, it could have gotten bad, and I wouldn't be sitting in the better place. So I'm glad that I did calm down and got rash. I mean, I could, and deal with this. I mean, all this over one payment that is a week late. Girl, who has never been late on a payment? You get going doing something in the month, you got a big activity coming up, you forget something. I mean, really, like, I'm extremely good about paying my bills. So, like, my bills are always paid. And that's the other thing that really upsets me about this car dealership is I've been with them a year and a half, and I've never not made a payment. I've never been late making a payment. I've been really, really good. Because I've also been then trying to build my credit up. Like I said, I didn't realize until today that it doesn't matter. It doesn't really go on your credit. Like at the end, it does show that, okay, yes, she made this payment, she paid it off or whatever, but it doesn't actually go like on your credit per se. So, but yeah, so that's what happened to me today, you guys. And like I said, I know I wasn't gonna make any more really of these sit down videos, except for once in a while. And I feel like that's all you guys have been getting, because I am waiting for my new camera to come, and it still hasn't come. But yes, and I did start working. Well, my friends started working on Morgan's birthday party video, and we got Landon's coming up soon too. Like, you know, it's all video. We're just trying to work on them and edit them and that type of stuff. So that's all coming in the works. But yeah, so I just wanted to share this little story with you guys, so that you guys realize that you don't have to put up with crap like this. People should not be coming and disrespecting you, you know, especially for a week late payment. No. So if anybody really in this area who knows me and wants to know where this car dealership is, I will personally write to you like a PM and let you know. I'm not going to just blast it all over. So with that being said, I'm going to let you all go and be happy and be merry. Alright, I'll see you guys all for my next video. Bye!